Hi. I want to show you how I made Garfield lasagna, and yes, I do roll my own pasta. And the first thing you need for lasagna is something to hold it, so I'll start off by making an oven-baked oven tray. Now, I wasn't really sure was the best way to make this type of shape, but I figured I can make the bottom with some small walls at first, and after I have a solid structure, I can build the rest on top. To do this, I taped together a couple of pieces of cardboard that are the size I need for the inside of the tray, and then pretty much made a phone case out of clay. After a quick bake, I then had a good starting point to build the walls. With help of some liquid clay, I went ahead and built up the sides of the tray, but going outwards and rounding the corners so it doesn't just look like a boring rectangle. And after another quick bake, I was left with the rough shape I wanted that I could then sand to get some nice straight walls. However, it didn't turn out perfect, but I had an idea on how to fix it, and an even better idea later, because the first idea didn't really work. But I moved on to the main ingredient, which was a ball of aluminum foil wrapped in the grey flesh of an orange cat. I gave him a big pasta-filled belly, and his head got a big smiling mouth that's ready to eat. I sculpted in his big eyes, and I want to give him a very intoxicated expression since he will be eating the best and possibly the last lasagna of his current life. I baked separately some chompers for him that I stuck inside his face. And after I gave him a cute little nose, I chopped off his ears because they didn't look quite right and made new ones that looked at least 12% better. After which, I could attach the head to his body, and used one of these as a reference to give him a neck big enough to inhale as much lasagna as he wants at once. The bottom teeth got pre-baked as well and stuck inside his mouth, and then I gave his body some features worthy of the god he is. I then textured his big mustache and also his entire body. Jumping back to the main course, I added some foil to pad out the bottom of the tray, got an idea of Garfield's position in it, and then set a layer of clay on top of the foil. Once I knew how he'll be sitting, I could drill some holes and use wires to get his arms in place. I test fitted him once more and then cut out a chunk of the lasagna, which will be later placed on a big fork ready to be consumed. Then I moved on to my least favorite part, sculpting hands. He got some chunky fingers, and using a toothpick gave him a handle for the fork that he'll be holding. I used this texture stick I made for my Godzilla sculpture to get some random bubbly spots on the top layer of the lasagna, which I then accentuated by adding some random bits of clay and then blending them in just to simulate some bubbly cheese. Finally, I trimmed off that toothpick so I can make the fork head, and this lasagna baked at 130 degrees for 15 minutes. After this, I wanted to sand his bottom teeth to get rid of the sharp edges, and then prove to myself that the first idea I had to fix the sides of the tray was bad, so I ended up just adding more clay and then sanded off. Finishing up the fork, I could make that first bite of lasagna he'll be having up to his mouth. Also, as a total afterthought, Garfield has these weird whisker looking things on the side of his head, so I just used some thin wire and liquid clay to stick them on. For painting, I kept them separate from the tray since I knew it would have been a pain otherwise, and started off by giving his body a base coat of dark orange and his mustache a light yellow. Then the fork got a dark metallic grey, some black for his head whiskers, and pink for his nose. I then dry brushed his entire body with some yellow and gave him brown eyes. and added the black details on his eyes and ears. Also, can't forget about the tiger stripes on his back. I figured he'd look happier with some bloodshot eyes, so I wet blended in some light pink on the outer edges. The top layer of lasagna got a coat of pasta yellow, gave it some nicely burnt edges, and a deeper yellow towards the edge of the tray. There is sauce on the top of this lasagna too, so I added in random splotches around it with some brown bits for the cheese bubbles and a thin layer of light yellow over the middle. Finished up the tray itself with the final layer of white, and then I also painted a piece of lasagna on the fork now that I had a solid color reference from the main dish. His eyes got some UV resin on top so they'll look all nice and glassy, then the lasagna and tray got a layer of glossy varnish as well. Finally, I glued Garfield in his custom-fit lasagna crater and he was all done.